This is Mitch, and welcome to the Real Estate Investor Summit podcast. Let me get my cowboy hat out of the way over here. So I'm going to the ranch after this. What do you think, Austin?
Love it. I love it.
All right. So you guys out there, I'm talking to Austin Rutherford. I'm really excited to talk with him because this is a guy cranking out some volume. It's not easy to do. He's doing between 5 to 10 deals a month consistently, and he's doing whatever the house it says to do. It's the old house whisperer thing. Like he buys a property, then he goes out to visit it in his car. He leans down to the front door with his ear and it says, wholesale me, or it says retail me, or it says fix me up and retail me. You know, the house just speaks to him like it should. And like we know that they can, because you know, sometimes if you just sit back and don't complicate things, the house will tell you what to do. The neighborhood will tell you what to do. Just listen for it. Before we start, let me pay homage to my sponsor, taxfreefuture.com. Taxfreefuture.com. If you don't have a tax-deferred or tax-free account to grow your funds in, to grow your retirement in, to grow your financial freedom in, then you have no idea the size of the tool you are missing in your tool belt. Please go to taxfreefuture.com. Watch the 37 little video vignettes, and especially pay attention to how you can grow a little bit of money into a whole lot of money in a short period of time. That little scenario changed my entire life. You won't believe what your financial advisors are not telling you. We're going to tell you what they're not telling you. We're going to tell you why they're not telling it to you. And then you can do with it what you want. But it's going to rock your world. So taxfreefuture.com. Please go see them. All right, Austin. You're over there in Columbus, Ohio. I've been there before. Once upon a time, in a previous life, I was in a van and I wired every Rite Aid pharmacy in the planet. And that like took, you know, from the Mississippi east or whatever. I don't know. I was all over. And that's where I saw all the small towns. I wired all the Foot Lockers and Gaps and Limiteds and Marianne's Plus. And that took me to every mall in every big city. Yep. So I got to visit Columbus many times and all through Ohio. And tell us a little bit about you and how you got to Ohio and kind of your background. How did you get in this business? And then we'll take it from there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You know, first, definitely appreciate you having me on here. I'm really looking forward to this. But a little bit of my backstory. I was born and raised here in Columbus, Ohio. My dream was to go to the NBA, be an NBA basketball player. Obviously didn't work out. So after high school, I went to Arizona to play basketball for a year at a junior college, and I just fell out of love with the game. I never wanted to pick up a basketball again, so I was kind of lost at that point in my life. And I started reading a lot of books, and I don't know if this is true or not, but this is what got me hooked. It said 90% of all people who file a tax return with $1 million or more on it had real estate in their portfolio. I was like, well, this is the way I'm going to get rich. So
now, whether it's true or not, it's a good thing that sparked you. Sometimes it doesn't matter if it's true or not. If it gets you going, that's good enough.
Agreed, 100%. Doesn't matter where motivation comes from as long as you have it. But so I flew home back to Columbus, fell in love with passive residual income first. So got a full-time job, trying to save some money till I found my first house. I was 19 years old at the time. And then found a duplex that cash flowed for me when I put the numbers into a spreadsheet. So bought my first duplex when I was 19 years old. It was on Ohio State University's campus. And then met my mentor that taught me how to flip houses. Bought my first flip when I was 21, sold it when I was 22, made $103,000 net profit on the deal and put it all back into the business and, just kind of blew it up from there over the past 5 years.
What I'm most impressed with is the fact that you were so young and that you put it all back in the business, because a lot of young people would have been driving a really nice car, huh?
Agreed. I mean,
with a boat behind it after they got back from the Hawaiian 1 month vacation. You know what I mean? So
for sure.
Hats off to you, man. Hats off to you. We have very similar stories. I wanted to play football and got cut about 45 seconds. And then I walked around the planet not knowing what the hell I was going to do for a long time. So accidentally screwed up and bought a rental property and sold it and made some money. And then that's when my light bulb went off. It's pretty much, I was just recognizing the similarities.
Love it.
So did you spend this time like running like crazy, burning the candle at both ends, doing all this stuff, and then finally figured out like, I'm going to burn out if I don't change the way I do this? Did you figure that out yet?
Yeah, absolutely. So from the time I decided I wanted to flip houses to the time I actually flipped my first house was a 16-month process. I mean, I was working 60 hours a week as a valet. I was going to school full time. I was trying to start real estate. Then when I started making money, I was ripping and running, managing job sites all day, every day, and then doing paperwork from 5 p.m. to midnight. It was just a lot. And finally, I was like, I don't want to keep running like this. I'm making good money, but I own a good high paying job. Like that's not what I wanted to do. So finally started hiring a team about 2 years ago. And now we have a team of 6 in the office here, and just have grown it. And I have way more freedom than I ever have.
What was that? How did that realization happen? And then how did it manifest? I mean, did you go to a mastermind? Did you read a book? Did you start listening to the E-Myth? I mean, what helped you say, okay, I can't keep going like this, and this is what I'm going to do?
Yep, no, absolutely. So I've had mentors all my life, different various parts of my life. But one of my mentors, he was just consistently like, you got to hire an assistant, got to hire an assistant, got to hire an assistant. And in my mind, I was like, I can't afford to pay, $30,000 for an assistant.
Isn't that the craziest thing, right? You think you can't afford it. Like you can't afford not to, right?
Yeah. Once you do it, it's the dumbest thing you've ever thought. Finally, years later, finally pulled the trigger and hired an assistant, and just the light bulb went off. Like I went from doing all the bull crap to just, marketing and sales and just producing income. And then we hired a sales department, and now I'm just high level and creating other businesses. So it's counterintuitive. Like you don't want to pay somebody to do the work, but you can't grow without paying somebody to do the work.
And you made, and I'm going to guess you made way more money when you had the bill for the assistant than you did when you didn't have a bill for the assistant.
Absolutely, 100%. Every year we've made more money the more people I hire.
It's a hard bridge to cross, though, like mentally, right?
It is.
We're used to living broke, right? You were used to being tight all the time. I mean, if you had a job and then you're going to school, and so you're tight, man. You're tight. Every dollar counts.
Yeah, you penny pinching, but it's completely counterintuitive to what you actually need to do.
So did your mentor help you find this person, or did you take a course on hiring people, or did you just jump in with both feet like entrepreneurs do and just started putting people in chairs? And how many of them failed before you found the right one?
Man, definitely been through a few of them for sure. I went down the Indeed route, so posted a job ad on Indeed.com. Hired one, she lasted like 3 months, she quit. Hired another one. Thankfully, she's been with me almost 2.5, 3 years now. And then hired a project manager, had to fire her, hired an acquisitions manager, had to fire her. And then hired 2 acquisitions people, a dispositions person. So I'm like, I don't know, 5 or 8 or 9 right now.
That's pretty good, because sometimes I was always hiring people from the real estate club, which was exactly wrong because they wanted to be me. They wanted to be you. You know what I mean? So like, I don't want someone that wants to be me. I want someone who lives and breathes to help someone like me, So I started testing people. When I thought I saw interesting resumes on Indeed or whatever, I would start testing the people. And what I was looking for all the good stuff, I was looking for punctual, honest, organized, all the good stuff. Then I was looking for this bad stuff that I needed. And there's not a lot of bad stuff. It's just like really 2 critical things. One is I needed them it would help if they were a bad personal money manager. So they could never save up enough to go in competition with me.
Yep.
I needed them not to have an entrepreneurial bone in their body.
Yeah.
I needed someone who wanted a job that was, and thank God, as entrepreneurs, we wonder why everyone's not an entrepreneur. That would screw everything up for us. Thank God there's people out there that like to do the books.
No, agreed. 100%. We need the people to do those tasks. You know what I mean? And in some positions within the company, people are able to be entrepreneurs. That they have some desire and everything, but they don't want to have 100% of the risk. Sales, is a tremendous opportunity for somebody like that. You know what I mean?
It's about as close to an entrepreneur as you can get, especially if they're straight commission. And my salespeople are straight commission. So they have to have the drive. They have to be money motivated. They have to have all these good things, be organized and punctual and all this stuff. I just don't want them to want to be me. And when I was trying to find people in the real estate groups, that was finding that person. So now what I wanted for a salesman was I wanted the top Hoover vacuum cleaner salesman in the region.
Oh man.
I wanted to take him from making $50,000 a year to making $80,000 a year, give him that opportunity. But I didn't want to have to teach him how to sell, and I didn't want him to necessarily care about being a real estate investor. I didn't want him to have any interest in that at all. I just wanted him to be interested in a product that he could sell, use his skills, and make more money than he was selling vacuum cleaners.
Agreed, 100%. Just real estate's our product. You know, we run a marketing business. Just happens to be real estate's the end product.
Right. No matter who you are, right, you're a marketer.
100%.
Or you're out of business. So what impresses me, though, you have a private money course. And, you know, I have a private money course, and we had this conversation before we got started here. I don't care. Maybe somewhere between my private money course and his private money course is how you out there are going to raise your $20 million and go to places you've never dreamed of before. But this guy, man, raised his first $250,000 at 21 years old. And that's impressive. There's a lot of mental obstacles that that would tell this kid, basically, because I'm going to call you a kid at that point. You were a kid at that point. There's a lot of mental obstacles that should have stopped most people or would have stopped most people. This guy didn't do it. Key to that, probably, I'm going to guess, is something you've already said. You always had a mentor. So that mentor was pushing you out of your zone. You know what I mean? Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's a hard mental shift, you know, especially when you're that young. You're going to usually older people that have retirement accounts that have worked their whole life to save, you know, a couple hundred, maybe $1 million, whatever that type of money they have in their account. And for me at that point, it was an ask. Like I was asking somebody to give me their entire life savings. And it was hard to come from that point of view because it's coming as an ask. Thankfully, I had a mentor that keep pushing me, and somebody believed in me enough to invest into the project with me. But now it's way different. It's not an ask anymore. It's an opportunity, because I truly believe that the opportunity that we can give people, you raise money, the opportunities that we give these people and the money that they make is almost untouched. You know? With
the collateral that they have.
100%. I mean, like the stock market, like, our people didn't lose no money. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I love this. I love this season. I don't love it because people are getting hurt, but since they're getting hurt and it's not my fault, they're already getting hurt. I love walking around town going, hey man, how about that stock market? And in like 3 seconds, and this is in my course, in like 3 seconds, you can tell if they're in the stock market or not when the Dow's fallen like 4,000 points. Within 3 seconds, you can tell if they're in or not. They'll look at the ground and they'll go, yeah, you know, they'll tell you, yeah, it's kicking my ass, you know, and then you got your patented thing that you say. What I say is, man, I am so glad I don't have to live by that ticker tape anymore. I changed the way that I invest my money, and I never even look at that ticker tape anymore, and I'm so glad I don't have to. And then you just stop and stare at it. What?
They're like, well, what does that mean? What do you mean?
I know. Then you gotta hold the silence and just stare at them.
Yep.
The hardest thing in the whole wide world in sales, acquisitions, raising money, anything was the silence. Like you gotta just shut up.
Yep.
Don't say another word after that. If the guy leaves the elevator without asking you, probably just as well.
Agreed. You know what?
You don't want to talk to him anyways. If he doesn't want to know, then for God's sakes, be glad you didn't spend money on lunch with him.
100%.
So let's talk about your private money course. I mean, first of all, why you had it going for yourself. I mean, so you did $250K by the time you're 21, but now you've used the tactics, refined it, you know, plus probably got a little, not probably, you got to, as you get a stronger track record, it gets a little easier, but it shouldn't stop you from getting money for any reason.
Yep.
And now you're up to like 18 million in private money. And I have about the same or more a little bit. It's a feat, you know, to get that amount of money. It's a feat to keep that amount of money, but keeping it right's not so hard. You just pay people on time.
Agreed. I mean, as soon as you get someone in the door, like they may test you out and, you know, lend $25,000 or $50,000. And as soon as you pay them back and they see how much money they make, immediately they're like, all right, here's 400 grand. And then they never want to have it back because they see the money that you're making. But going back to the number that we've raised, it's something I've always lived by is you always want to dig your well before you're thirsty. It's a lot easier to raise money when you don't need it tomorrow. If you need it tomorrow, it's a way different conversation. So everywhere I'm at, all times, I'm always out, looking for opportunities. I go to the bar, I'm brushing shoulders with people, and I'm asking them what they do. They ask me what I do. I say I'm a real estate investor. I use other people's money to fund my deals. They're like, well, what do you mean you use other people's money? Boom, foot's in the door. So you always have to be raising money and digging your well before you're thirsty. Otherwise, it's super difficult to get to that amount of money, because you're coming from a place of need if you're only looking for it when you need it.
Yeah, lot of good nuggets there. One is, stop begging for money. These people to make, I don't know what you pay yet. We'll get to it, but I am paying 8 to 15%. I'm sorry, 8 to 10%. And so I advertise that I pay 10%, and then I tell them the terms of my 10%. And some people don't like those terms. So now we get to talk about 9, 8, 7, 6%.
Yep.
I will pay 10%. I can pay 14% under certain conditions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you got to meet my terms,
Yeah.
But I advertise 10%. But that's a 15-year fixed, fully amortized loan.
Love it. Love it.
Well, I don't want to go 15 years. Well, okay. Well, I got some other products. I got a 9% is 10 years fixed.
Nice.
8% is 15 years with a 5-year balloon.
Nice.
And then you can start doing any hybrids. I don't like to make it too complicated, but in my mind, I know, 8.5% would be 15 years with a 7-year balloon.
Yep.
The longer they give me the money, the higher I'll pay them, but they got to give me more time. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
What is your interest rates like, or what is your offer like?
So we pay 8 to 12%, depending on the terms. We've paid up to 14, I think. But to me, it's never been the cost of the money; it's the availability of the money.
14% is nothing if you're only going to have a deal for 30 days.
Agreed.
That's 14% annual interest, right? Sometimes you feel guilty, right? And you say, here's the 14%. It was only 30 days out of the year, so here's your little check. But I feel bad. Here's 1,000 put on top of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So we pay a minimum of 90 days. So worst case, they get 90 days interest. But it's anywhere from 8 to 12% normally. But like you said, if they're funding an entire deal, we'll pay them more money. If they're funding less of a deal for whatever reason in their first or second position or something, and it's not the entire sum, then we're negotiating the terms down to 8, 9, 10%. So we're basically right in the same ballpark as well.
Yeah. Have you ever offered someone so much interest rate that it scared them?
Yeah, they think it's a fraud. They think it's a Ponzi scheme. Like I used to leave because again, I was coming from a place to ask. I was like, I'll give you 13%. And they're like, no.
They run like hell, right? They hit the door. They don't even look back. It's like, man, this guy's a fraud.
Absolutely. So now, I don't even mention, I'll mention double digits just to get people's interest. But as soon as I actually have a conversation with them, I'm finding out where their money is currently. If it's in the stocks or if it's in a CD, and what they're making on it currently and what they're actually making, not, what the stock people tell them, 8%. Okay, cool. Is that before or after taxes? Did you lose the year before? What are you really making here? And then I go off of that number and make an offer. So if they're making 6% in the stock market, I'll offer them 8%. You know what I mean? I don't lead with 12% anymore.
Yeah. I made the same mistakes. I was buying the house and then selling the house on paper and selling the note at the same closing table. And it was all happening within 30 to 60 days.
That's awesome.
And 18% wasn't even enough for my investors. So it was $2,000 kicker per deal plus 18%, because I was rolling them. Sometimes I sold them before I even bought them. Like I only owned them for a minute and a half, which was enough time to move from that room at the closing title company to that room. I don't sell notes anymore because I learned a lot of things by accident. How about you? I didn't strategize and go, this is what I'm going to do. I would do something and screw up and then make a lot of money and go, crap, what just happened? And I have to go back and figure it out and go, well, how do you make that happen again, right? Have you learned like that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I've learned things that I wanted to do more of, and I've learned things that I never wanted to do it again. So it goes both ways for sure. But yeah, I mean, most of the things we do like aren't planned. We're like, oh, that makes sense, and then we just do it again.
Oh, well, okay. So, so tell us about the how to raise private money course. What does it include? Give us a little idea of what someone could expect if they jumped into that course.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, basically, it's just start to finish how to raise money. You know, first off, where to find what is private money, and then where to find it. You know, that's always the biggest question I get. I don't know about you, but where do I find the private money? I can't Google it. Well, yeah, you can't Google it because it's private money. So it goes into like places to put yourself, areas to put yourself around, athletic clubs, restaurants, bars, things like that, where money could potentially be at. And then, you know, some scripts and one-liners to get people interested into it. And then it teaches you how to tap into money. So a lot of people think they need to have, you know, $100,000 sitting in the bank to lend you money. That's not it. Like you got cash, you got IRAs, you got 401ks, you got life insurance policies. You have a lot of ways to tap into more money that people don't even know they have access to. So you have to educate them during that conversation on ways that they can tap into money. And then, you know, you get credibility package, deal analyzers, deal packets, all the documents that we use to present opportunities to lenders, and how we, you know, calculate the payoffs and stuff. So basically A to Z, where to find, what is it, where to find it, how to structure it, who to talk to, and then how the money actually works going through a deal. You know, who does the money get sent to, type of thing. So that's kind of what the course includes in there.
So do people send their money to the title company with you, or do they send it to you?
Vast majority go to the title company, very few, and it's really only like really good friends will send it directly to me, but majority go through the title company for sure.
We have that avenue available, but 90% of the people send the stuff to us. But in all fairness, 90% of the people that loan me money have been with me 10, 15, and 20 years. And some of them, you know, would have been with me 25 years, but they died. So these people have a long, long history with me.
Absolutely.
And honestly, they become like my family. And very truthfully, the underwriting guidelines for everybody is the same, whether you're my mom or you're just the person across the street, you know, the neighbor. The underwriting guidelines are exactly the same for everybody. Nothing changes.
Yep.
And it sounds like you've done a good job of policing yourself, but one of the biggest mistakes I see out there is when people get access to a lot of money, they change their underwriting bar and they start buying crap.
Yeah.
You know, they don't stay at the same standard. So I always want to buy 100 houses a year. That's always the goal, to do over, you know, at least one house over 100. But I have, you know, when I have the money, but if I only find 87 outstanding deals that year, then that's where we're going to be at this year. You know, I don't need to buy another 13 crappy ass deals just so I can say I hit 100.
Agreed. And it's not even the number of deals. You know, for me, it's always about profit. You know, I'd rather do one deal and make $5 million on it than 150 deals to make $5 million on it.
I'd be too scared. I'd be way too scared. It says, okay, I got to put up, you know, 400 million so I can make 500. I don't know if I can do that.
Yeah, but I mean, it goes to what you said.
Like, I see what you're saying. It's a crappy deal that loses 10 grand takes exactly as much effort, if not more effort, than a good deal that makes you 40 grand.
100%.
Effort.
100%.
You know? I learned that the really hard way. Ron LeGrand taught me that. He said, how many people are doing more than 10 deals a month? And I raised my hand and I told him what I was doing. And he called me an idiot in front of 300 people. Oh. And I'm standing up, you know, you're an idiot. You know? Then finally, and he's perfect. I mean, he's an expert at holding the silence, right? So he held the silence just long enough for me to turn like 4 shades of red. And then he said, and everybody in this room would be doing good if they were as dumb as this guy. But, you know, but he was saying, you're an idiot, but you're.
Got you.
Everybody in the room wishes they were an idiot like you doing 12 deals. You know, but let me explain. You know, Ron, he says, you know, you'd be better off to be doing half as many deals, have a life, and make more money. And that was the first time I thought about that concept.
Yeah. No, it's like we call it the magician versus the mule. You know what I mean? Like mules will go out and do hundreds of deals to make $5,000 a deal. Like get a little bit smarter, find a way to get deals better so you can do half the amount of deals and make 3 times the money. Like how do you be a magician and not be the the one out there cranking all day every day?
I like you, Austin. You're full of good ones. Dig your well before you're thirsty. Before the more. Yeah. Are you a songwriter by any chance?
I'm not. I do not sing.
Not singer. Are you a songwriter? Are you a writer?
If you saw my writing, you would not.
All right. So you talk about where to find the money. You talk about the pathway of the money and the documentation and how it like really, all right, someone wants to give you the money. What the hell do you do? That's the scary part. Like, how do I say, okay, sir, this is what we're going to do. Give them what they need. Sign this, sign here, and then transfer your money over to the title company when I tell you to.
Yep.
In the amount I tell you to, certified funds or whatever.
Yep.
And then you probably talk about negotiating your interest rate, right?
Yeah. I mean, you said it, you lead with something, but then you say, well, if you want that, it's got to be X, Y, Z. You got to fund 100% of the deal. You got to wire it on time. You can't ever come look at the property. You send me the money and you get out the way. And if they're like, well, I want to see it. I want to do the evaluation on it. I want to calculate the repairs. I only want to give you 80% of the loan. Any of those things, the interest rate just starts dropping. You know what I mean? So you lead with something that you're comfortable paying, but absolute 100% best case scenario for you. And then you go down from there. Because most people off the jump aren't going to give you 100% financed at the click of a finger and not ask any questions. But if they do, I'm happy to pay interest because it's less headache for me. You know what I mean? I don't have to go out there and raise the second position, or I don't have to go out there and put some of my own money into the deal. So yeah, 100%, that we do the same thing.
Well, I never borrow. I mean, my thing, I've always borrowed 100%, but I don't borrow over 65% of the value. That's my personal underwriting guideline to make sure that my people have at least a 35% cushion, and I use the owner finance value, which is a different value than maybe the comps. Like today, the comps and the owner finance value are about the same, but the owner finance value is a value based on the rents, and we back into the rents in that neighborhood to establish a sales price.
Got it.
And that in the recession, that price, my owner finance value can be 100% over the comps in the neighborhood.
That's crazy.
But the person is across the street's paying this much rent, and so I'm just offered a sales price where they can quit paying that money for nothing and they can pay something to own over here. It's a really freaking weird dynamic. But in the recession, everyone has to rent, so rents are going up.
Got you.
And my goal always is to make the PITI payment pretty much what the rent is, plus or minus a little bit. I mean, people will pay $150, $200 more a month to own a house, but they're comfortable at this place. So I don't want to stress them out. I'm trying to collect their payments. I'm not trying to take their down payment away from them and run away and take their house away in 5 months. I hate that plan. I think it's a stupid plan.
No, I love that strategy though. I mean, if they're paying it to rent, why not pay the same thing to own?
Now we ought to trade courses, because I'm sure there's things in your course that I could benefit from. I'm actually hugely curious about it. So if you want to trade, I'll trade you.
Absolutely.
What do you charge for your course? Or what are you charging today? That's what I want to say. This man has a price. If he names a price, this is his price today. He has the right to change his price up or down, or just quit selling it altogether. I'm just making this clear, because these conversations are going to be archived for months, if not years. So what's the date today? March the 12th, okay? Or March the 11th. Today's March the 11th, 2020. So if you look at your watch and it's not that date, then the price might have changed, okay?
No, absolutely.
Okay, so what are you selling it for today, March the 11th, 2020?
Yeah, so I just started selling it like 3-4 months ago. So, I mean, it's on sale right now for $297, but it's definitely going to go up because I feel like I'm shortcutting myself, because we're literally selling money. We're selling you how to create money. I'm selling mine for $997. Sometimes I run a special, kind of like you, but
You find one person because of what you learned to loan you even $25,000. You're that $1,000 or that whatever you paid is nothing. But and the reason why it's really nothing, because if you can do it one time with what you learned, you can do it 100 times with what you learned, and you won't stay at 25,000 long. As a matter of fact, this is an interesting comparison. I have found, like you said, I agree with you what you said. People start with a little bit. They put the little finger in or the little toe in the water, and they test you out.
Yep.
I have recognized, I'm curious to know if this is the same with you. About the third time I make a payment on time, the phone rings and they want to know what I can do with a little more money.
Yep. It always happens.
It's 3 months, almost to the day. I've had even my students call me and go, damn, they called me 3 months and 4 days. I measured it. I said, it's uncanny. They get a check. Okay, that was, of course the first one's going to come on time. Get a second check. Okay. Third check, they're like, damn, I got all this other money sitting around making nothing.
Yep. And then they start telling their moms and their uncles and their friends and their parents, and then money just flows in from everywhere. It's crazy, but
I like to wait till they say they don't have any more, or I'm done. I've put in as much as I want to put in right now. Then I ask, who else do you know that who else can we help?
Yep.
Instead of begging for money, right? Who else can we help? Certainly
Absolutely.
have a mother or uncle or aunt or someone who's not making crap on their money, and 8% would be really good for them.
Absolutely.
We could change their life.
100%.
And then they start thinking, I like your elevator pitch. Mine's kind of the same. I help average people achieve above average rates of return, and I give them very valuable Texas real estate as collateral.
Boom. What do you mean? What does that mean? And your foot's in the door.
Yeah. I also, though, in my course, I use a lot of NLP to get people, do you do that? Like, get people to ask you the question that you want them to ask so you can get into the conversation that you want to be into. Like, if I want to know what you do for a living, answer, we'll do a little role play. Answer anything, but you're a real estate investor. Answer doctor, lawyer, whatever. So, hey, Austin, I noticed those are some pretty expensive wheels you got out there. May I ask what you do for a living?
Yeah, man, I'm a doctor. I went to school for it.
What kind of doctor?
I'm a heart surgeon.
That's amazing. I almost took that route, but I chose a different path.
That's awesome. What path? What do you mean? What are you doing?
Well, I help average people achieve above average rates of return with their idle money, and I give them very valuable Texas real estate collateral. Normally, if it's not like a brain surgeon, if it's something like I do landscape or something, I'll ask for their card first stating, I'm going to need that service pretty soon, or I know someone who's looking for you. Yep. I know someone that needs that right now. Let me have your card. And then I'll tell them what I do. But it's up to me now whether I call them back or not.
I love that.
I got it in control. Like, it's kind of hard to fake. Well, I think I'm going to need a brain surgeon soon. So I might miss the card. I might have to get his name and look him up in the rolls or something. But
that's funny. No, I'm going to steal that. I love that. That's huge.
No. That's why I said we should share courses. We should both take time to go through each other's course, and we should get together one day and see what I missed from you and what you missed from me. That would be cool.
Agreed, 100%. I would love it.
All right, man. So we were talking earlier in the show. Austin didn't know exactly what he's going to give away, but he's going to give away something. So I want you guys to go to ariinvestorsummit.com/elevate. Elevate, ELEVATE. And there you'll see about the course, Raising Private Money course. It's evergreen, Austin. So if you want to add speaking engagements or anything, you can always put it there. Have your people call my people, and they'll keep it current whenever you want to change it or modify it. You get a different special, or you have something else come out, put it out there. It's a place for everyone to go. ariinvestorsummit.com/elevate and stay current with you and what you got going on. There you go. And check out that private money course. I mean, the guy raised $250,000 at age 21. And how old are you now?
I'm 26 now.
Oh, I hate you. Golly. What? My head was so far up my butt when I was 26, I couldn't even believe it. I don't, you know, I really say this with all the jealousy in my heart. I don't know why. I was driven. I worked hard. I tried businesses. It just didn't click with me till I was about 24.
Yeah.
And I really wish I'd have had that extra 10 years, you know, or 12 years in your case. What a blessing. So just please, brother, coming from a 59-year-old, just keep your head screwed on straight and
Absolutely.
and live by the certain rules, you know, that have got you where you're at. Don't change them much. You know what I mean?
Agreed. No, I say it all the time. I say people always say money changes people. Money doesn't change people. Money just brings out the real you. If you're a genuine dude that's down to earth, you're gonna be a more genuine dude that's down to earth. If you're a dickhead, you're gonna be more of a dickhead.
It magnifies you, right? It 10 times you.
100%.
You know, when I started making some more money, I did buy a little nicer car, but I didn't. You know,
But that didn't
I
change.
still don't feel like I've made enough money to spend $275,000 on a Ferrari or something, because it just doesn't make any sense to me. You know, I would rather just rent one for the day or for the month and just hand it back. You know what I mean? Like, here, that was really fun. You know, I got a lot of looks, you know, but I'm done now.
Yeah.
Or on the other hand, maybe then I would find out it was really important to me. It
Yeah.
was really something I really wanted to do. And then that would be different. But a lot of people run out and buy these things and like 90 days in, it's like, I wish I wouldn't have done that. I mean, you know, I wish I could get that 290,000 back, you know, or 400,000 back. Well, man, this has been really good. 5 to 10 deals a month. You have about 5, 6 people helping you?
Yeah, so there's 5 people out there, and then me. So we got 3 on acquisitions, 1 in transaction coordination, 1 in dispositions, and you know that's how we operate.
So what is your role though? Are you mostly just, I'm going to go about my day, and when the phone rings, I'm going to solve problems for my guys? I'm going to answer their questions?
Yeah, for the most part. You know, we started the education side of the business a few months ago, so I'm putting a lot of time into that. But up till then, you know, I was still.
You want to talk to me about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's just
that business will take as much all the time you can give it, and it'll never stop asking for that time, because there's always another thing, you know. Well, I could do this course and that course, and you know, and then it offshoots, and we could do this and we could do that. You gotta.
I'm quickly learning. I thought I was just gonna be able to like make a couple posts on Instagram and stuff. Oh, follow me on Instagram too, Austin Rutherford official. But I thought it was just gonna be Instagram. No, it's a full-blown, full-time business. I just hired a full-time videographer. Like, it's a whole nother business.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's very rewarding though, if you get in it for the right reasons. I think if you get in it just for the money, it's not, you know, it's going to be a real job. I think if you're getting in there trying to change people's lives, and you got a certain goal, like my thing is, you know, Dave Ramsey does the primal scream when people get financially, they don't have any more debt, when they zero out their debt.
Yeah.
You know, you and I go quite the opposite direction. It's like, how much debt can we get into? The more we get into, the more we make. You know, so I don't agree with that theory, but I understand who he's talking to too. I understand the audience he's talking to.
For sure.
But we ring the bell when people have that conversation with their boss about how they no longer need their boss's service.
Oh, 100%.
You know, that's my goal. Let me get you to the point where you got enough coming in, or you're confident enough to like say goodbye to that job. I mean, that's a worthwhile goal, I think. For, you know, that doesn't even mean you have to be rich. One of the biggest aha moments in my life, Austin, I think you'll get it. Well, no, I know you'll get it, is when I figured out that financial freedom didn't mean I had to be rich. It just mean I needed to make whatever my overhead was. If my overhead at the time was $3,500 a month, and that's what I needed to come in, that's what I needed, so I could tell my boss to go take a flying leap off a cliff. You know, it was 35 measly $100 a month. And all of a sudden my whole world, it all shrank a little bit, saying, I don't need to be, the first step is not to become a multimillionaire. The first step is get rid of your job, but still have the income, so that you don't have to give up 2,600 hours a year for someone else to make money.
100%.
2,600 hours a year, you can start to be good at something. That means in 4 years, you got your 10,000 hours. You know what I'm talking about on that, right?
Yep.
10,000 hours on the violin separates you from really good violinists to the best, put you in the best in the world. It's 10,000 hours extra, really, is what it is. 10,000 hours more than what the other guys do.
Yeah.
So you can get 10,000 hours in 4, 5, 6 years and be your own guy along the way and start hanging around with people. I liked what you said about where to find prospects for private money. Yep. If you're drinking in a place where beer's $1.50, get the hell out of that bar. Get the hell out of that bar. You want to drink where drinks are $10 minimum a pop.
Yep.
You know? Now you're sitting next to people.
Yeah, seriously.
You can use your little NLP conversations with, you know, and it's relaxed. It's fun. You're not, you know.
Absolutely. You got
I hesitate to say this because it just doesn't sound right, but it's right. I love studying the con men, the great con men of the day. They were really good at separating people from their money. What they did to get people to take those was brilliant, except for I wanted to be just like them, except for at the end, I didn't want the part where they screwed the guy. I was trying to take that out.
Yep.
And the problem with the whole thing with the con man is the one thing you got to learn to live with that you're never going to fix, that the con man does that you can't do, is he always offers us something way over the top. The offer is too good. It's a huge profit for whoever they're talking to. And we only have the product that we have. And it may not be over the top, but it's better than what they're doing. And so I settle to be better than what they have now by a long shot than over the top, you know. And then I could take, but if you study those guys, they're engaging, they have conversation, they use NLP, they ask questions or have conversation to let them know what their offer is going to be. Like you said, you know, may I ask, what are your investments like now? Well, I just have my money in a CD. Bingo. This guy's making 1.5% max, you know, maybe 2, you know, maybe 2. So I know where I'm going to offer it now. Or they say I'm in the stock market. So how's that been? I mean, I know it's been really good right now, but how has it been over like the last 10 years, you know, like when the recession, you know, how's it been? Try to get an average. So these guys they don't ask questions for no reasons. They ask questions. Every question they ask was for a reason.
Absolutely.
You know?
But they know where they're leading the conversation. That's the thing. You have to know private money and where you want the conversation to go to be able to ask the right questions.
Yeah, sometimes, you know, when you talk to young people that are growing their own business, I already know this man's needs to take his money and put it in his business. You talk to a young attorney, he's trying to grow his practice. Yep. But then you just say, well, you know, what I do is this. You're probably putting your money in your practice. I mean, you know, I'm thinking to myself, if I'm you know, I'm 28 years old. I just got I'm started my law practice. I'm thinking I'm trying to grow my practice. You know, am I right about that? Yeah. He says, yeah. I said, great. But do you know anybody I could help by offering them this kind of stuff? Do you have any clients? I mean, I love talking to attorneys because one, you can always get an appointment with them because it's real easy. A free initial consult. Always get one with them because all you have to say is, I'm in this business. I need a certain kind of attorney. I need certain kinds of attorneys on my round table. I think you might be one of them. Can I come in and show you my business?
Yep.
Then I like attorneys second because they understand the position and the power of a first lien and what they can do to me.
Yep.
And plus they don't have to hire a lawyer because there is one. And then thirdly, I like attorneys because they usually know a lot of people with a lot of money.
Yep.
And whether they decide to invest with me or not, they get confidence in me. Here's one for you. You know, CPAs, I used to go to a lot of CPAs, but CPAs are a little bit more worried about their reputation and afraid to recommend you than attorneys. And CPAs won't take any money because it's a conflict of interest, and they'll tell you that. I think it's a conflict of interest for attorneys too, but they don't care. And how to avoid all that is I say, you know, if you refer me someone, instead of paying $300 for these documents, I'll pay you $1,000 for the documents you do between me and the person that you're bringing to the table, because you kind of have a stressful position that you're in, you know. And furthermore, you can just represent him, and I'll sign that you're representing them. But I'll pay you $1,000 for the stress.
Love it.
So
there's always a way to work something. I love that.
All right, man. We've been talking here for a while, probably too long. But I'd like to thank everybody. You want to learn more about Austin Rutherford, go to reinvestorsummit.com/elevate. Show us your shirt again.
Oh, yeah. Elevate.
Elevate. And then, as always, man, I'm so glad you stopped by to get you some Austin Rutherford today at the Real Estate Investor Summit podcast. Please pay attention to my friends over at taxfreefuture.com. You won't believe what your financial advisors aren't telling you. And we're going to tell you what they're not telling you and why. And then we're going to let you do with it what you want to do. No pressures, no endless stream of beating you up with emails. But we will ask for a little micro information. Please give it to us. We won't beat you up with it. But that'll get you in to see the little 37 video vignettes. And you'll be amazed at what these investment categories can do. What these what do you call them? They're funds, they're accounts that you can grow tax-free or tax-deferred. So check them out, taxfreefuture.com. This is Mitch Stephen with the Real Estate Investor Summit podcast. We're out of here.
Peace.